Flight bus, bitch. You know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about why the fuck you got so many goddamn headaches. That's right, why the fuck you got so many goddamn headaches. And we're going to break that shit down. Now, first and foremost, before I break down anything, I need everybody to go check out these motherfucking soul group members. They're very, very prominent, aka dominant motherfucking soul group members. You know what I'm saying? They got controls of some heavy shit in the artillery of our spaceship as a soul group. And this is who y'all need to motherfucking check out. Motherfucking Archangel Honey Haru. Go to her page. She's the Archangel Raphael in the flesh. And also motherfucking Archangel Ariel XY. Go check out his motherfucking page. That's Archangel Ariel in the motherfucking flesh in this third dimension. You know what I'm saying? And also, you know what I'm saying? If y'all motherfuckers need to keep your hygiene up, you know what I'm saying? To keep your teeth clean and shit, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Arch Divine. Y'all need to go to her. She could get you right. You know what I'm saying? She'll get you motherfucking right. She'll get you clean and shit. Because you know what I'm saying? We don't need nobody out here teaching people how to be dirty and shit. So you need to go to Arch Divine so she could, you know what I'm saying, get your teeth white. You know what I'm saying? Get all that shit. Get you right. So first and foremost, we're gonna talk about why you motherfuckers got so many goddamn headaches though. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's get into that shit. First and foremost, you're using your mind for shit it ain't used for. You're using your mind for shit it wasn't made for. And what do I mean by that, right? See, your mind was made to construct the present. Your mind ain't made to try to construct the past or reconstruct the past and construct the future. Anytime I tie something to the past or the yin realm or the subconscious realm, I must tie that re-word on there because it's always a redoing, a repeat of something. So keep that in mind also. So I don't need anybody out here trying to use their mind to reconstruct the past or use their mind to construct the future, because that's where the headache gonna come. That's where you're gonna start putting pieces of your consciousness in areas it ain't supposed to be at the time. And then you got a society in the world that we in right now that's teaching you to do this first. See, listen, the mind came after the fact. The mind and the brain ain't shit. The brain ain't even stronger than the goddamn heart. So anybody out here telling you that the mind is this, that, and the third, the brain and everything is the fucking mind, you cut that shit off the fucking fastest fucking possible. Fastest fucking possible. Because your ass is going to get lost into the conscious masculine realm, and you're going to forget what it is to be in the subconscious dream world, aka the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. And if you don't understand the subconscious world, goddamn, you ain't going to understand the conscious world. If you don't understand where you came from, you ain't going to know where you're going. If you ain't going to understand what's backing and supporting you, you ain't going to know where the fuck you at. So for the first and foremost, if you don't understand the subconscious realm, you ain't going to understand shit in the conscious realm. You see what I'm saying? Because you just going to be manifesting a bunch of conscious shit that come from the subconscious realm, and then your dumb ass is going to be motherfucking lost. So this is why people have motherfucking headaches. They use their mind for past references and future references. You do not supposed to use your mind for shit it's not made for. For example, your mind was made like after the fact. So you created that conscious body, and then I created the brain in order for you to be aware of yourself and to be aware of your surroundings, so you can form intellect, so you can form reasoning. But you need to understand, you as a spiritual being, that wasn't first. What was first is what you resonated with, and based upon natural selection and what was based upon your state of being. You wasn't really even conscious. Just like a baby's not really conscious. They're just doing their natural state of being. Their natural awareness, their natural nature. You see what I'm saying? Their natural natures. And then once they start to experience and get older in life and start to have to develop other conscious bodies, they start to develop their brain and their light bodies and their conscious bodies, aka their light bodies. They start to get consciously aware of the familiar rotation that they are in, the pattern. You see what I'm saying? So now that they are aware, they start to utilize the conscious body that they have created, aka the intellect. So this is like, you see how all that shit I just broke down before we even got to intellect? Before we even got to intellect and what y'all think is common sense or rationality and shit like that. You was a fucking bacteria looking motherfucker walking around off motherfucking natural selection. Believe that. You see what I'm saying? And we got representations and examples of that every day when motherfuckers have kids. Now, your kid ain't logically or got the conscious awareness yet to develop the pieces in the body to know what to do and what not to do. So keep that in mind. This is why it takes a person who's experienced in this realm of reality. But an experience involved with a whole bunch of light ain't nothing but blindness. And I'm going to break it down like this, because you get a lot of scientists watching me right now like, okay, he's getting ready to break down the cause of a headache. But we can look at scientists right now. They'll tell you it's a lot of things that's the cause of a headache. They'll tell you it's this drink. They'll tell you it's this alcohol. They'll tell you it's this wine. They'll tell you it's this beverage. But I'm going to tell you like this, right? You got to be in a state of being already for you to even manifest or to be in that circumstance to have that taste bud. For an example, right? I know you got a great auntie, you got an uncle. I know you got somebody in your life that drink heavy motherfucking Pepsi or pop or something like that, or motherfucking Pepsi, right? Think about the person in your life that drink Pepsi every goddamn day. Make you go to the store and get a goddamn two liter goddamn Pepsi every day. And then once you give them that Pepsi, sit back and observe this goddamn person and tell me that this ain't a goddamn person that think hard about their goddamn life. I mean, think hard about every goddamn thing. Tell me they don't. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that. Sit back and think about everybody who drank pop in your life, right? And then sit back and observe like they everyday, day to day. Don't they remind you of a motherfucker who think hard about every goddamn thing? So they're already in that state of being. So for the most part, just being in that state of being, your mind and your brain create chemicals and bacteria that spirits jump in those forms, and they feed off certain shit that's in the mixture of pop. You know what I'm saying? Certain carbons and certain fluids and certain you know what I'm saying? What they call that? The bubble gum. There's a lot of shit that's in pop. But you know, there's certain mixtures in there that these motherfuckers feed off that you motherfucking attract to your mind by having certain things, by being in a certain state of beings. So you create certain look, your spirit is your space. So you be in a certain state of being, right? So you're traveling through the astral realm, right? Boom. You go where you resonate with, right? And then when you go to you resonate with, right? You start to create what you're resonating with as forms of bodies. Now, these first forms of bodies, y'all want to look at them as archons, or all the little beings that come together to make up your whole chakra wheel, your whole plexus, your whole lights and shit like that, right? Now, these little motherfuckers, right, they start to participate in shit, and they start to create. You see what I'm saying? They start to create. And then once you start to create, that creation that you created from the mental thoughts and shit like that, shit get attracted to that shit. Other creations get attracted to that shit. This is where we get sex from. The joining of two energies to create another energy. Now, that's not exclusive to just male and females on earth, or just even a masculine and feminine energy. I don't give a fuck what it is. The joining of two energies to create another energy is sex, period, in all realms of realities. So if it's two of the same energies, it creates a painful transformation. It creates a painful birth and death. If it's the two opposite energies, it creates a harmonious death, a harmonious transformation, a harmonious, pleasurable sex. So you see what I'm saying? When it's two opposite energies. So when we talk about you having something on your mind or things of that nature, right? And you being in a certain state of being, then you experience wherever you're traveling as a spirit in the astral realm, as your space, your spirit, as a state of being. Then once you had that experience, you develop a consciousness, you develop a light body, you develop a fleshly fluid or a light form or a cloud. Now that creation, right, it's going to be attracted to other creations, and other creations going to be attracted to that. So it's going to play out in a third dimension as you having taste for something, or you know what I'm saying, or having a taste for pop, or having a taste for, you know what I'm saying, low vibrational beverages and shit like that, or foods. Now, here's what I need y'all to understand. When I say things like low vibrational, I don't need people to get lost as this is something that you ain't supposed to do. Listen, you can drink pop, you can indulge, you're just supposed to do everything in moderation, but all these things is here for you. So if you program your pop and you give a meaning, a reasoning to why you're drinking this pop, and you're not just drinking a pop for purely just indulging for the sake of because you like this pop, you actually got something in your mind, you actually have a meaning and reasoning, you actually have concepts, you actually got energy, directions for it to go when you actually intake it. Once you program shit, then okay, it's all good. You are a sustainable person. Therefore, shit like the 3D realm won't be able to affect you because you're spiritually inclined enough to know that you're no thing, no shape and form, and you're fully detached. Yet you utilize these things to sustain yourself in the third dimension because that's what the fuck they was made for. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a motherfucking body right now experiencing shit if you didn't want to. So you need to rethink about what the fuck you creating in front of yourself, because you created what the fuck whatever you're hating in front of yourself in the first place. So you need to understand that. You need to learn how to work with yourself other than play with yourself and hate on yourself, aka the shit you created. When you read these motherfucking Bibles, when you read these fucking ancient texts, when you read these motherfucking Gnostic texts, all these ancient shit is talking about you. Not something you're supposed to run from, or not something you're supposed to worship. It's talking about you. Then once you understand that, you will be able to dive into the realm of what made you have all this science to lay these books and these tablets here in the first place to remind yourself about yourself. Then once you get there, then you can start having real discussions about what the fuck is a God and things of that nature. Other than that, in the third dimension, don't get lost. So why the fuck you have so many motherfucking headaches is because you use your fucking mind on certain things that is not motherfucking made for. For an example, you cannot predict the future. So you might as well get that off your mind right now. You cannot predict the future. So you can analyze, you can schedule, you can practicalize, you can make sense out of something. You can have something on task. You can have something play out in a certain way based upon how strong you know how to formulate your circumstance. But that is a form of a demiurge, but I ain't gonna get into that. But for the most part, even when you kind of try to construct what's going to happen in whatever situation that you're going to, you're basically playing a role that you truly have no authority or power over. You truly don't even know anything about that. So for you to even dive into you trying to analyze and construct what you think is going to happen into any circumstance or situation you're getting into, that's not going to do nothing but manifest forms of nervousness, forms of worrying, forms of concern, forms of indecisiveness, form of unsurety. And unsurety is unpurity. Indecisiveness is you not being able to make a full decision, or you not being an individual, or you not being sure of yourself in order for you to not get possessed or get taken over by a person, place, or thing that you are around. You see what I'm saying? Nervousness leads to not having faith. You know what I'm saying? Worrying leads to adding energies onto your spiritual nature that it doesn't even necessarily has. So you're adding other influences, outside external influences, outside external references that doesn't even have anything to do with you. But you just go somewhere, pick up a vibe or pick up an idea, and now this is you let this attach to you. So it become a virus. You let other people become toxic to you, and other people may not even be toxic people. But based upon the state of being that you are in, just their energy and their remnants will play out as toxic to you based upon what you pay attention to. So once you start to think and try to formulate too much of what's going to happen and what's trying to happen, here's what's actually happening, right? You emit a light. Anytime you think and imaginate and try to think, anytime you're thinking, you're emitting a light, right? So look, you're emitting so much motherfucking light, right? What happens is it causes strain. What happens when you get too close to a light and try to look at a light too close? Or look straight at the sun, your eyes scrunch. So what the fuck you think your brain do when you emit too much light? Those are light bodies. You're not going to see them third dimensional wise, how you try to look at them like, oh, I'm thinking, how come I can't see mine? Those are lighter lights. See, in the third dimension, I can see it from a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional level, but in the third dimension, in order for y'all to see it, y'all would have to do some Goku spirit bomb type shit. All y'all would have to be thinking about the same thing at one time and feeling and having y'all emotions on something at the same time, and therefore all of y'all clouds, all y'all lights, y'all would start emitting it. Now, based upon what frequency vibration y'all in, like what kind of state of being y'all in, what kind of thoughts y'all all on at the same time, what kind of emotions and feelings y'all on at the same time, it's going to emit a certain color, and then that's going to be the color sector, depending on how large of the population do it, that's going to be the color spectrum that get manifested, and then the illusion get manifested into a shape or form. So for an example, when you got a bunch of the news channels kicking a bunch of rhetoric and shit like that to get the large masses into a certain frequency vibration, aka to feel a certain way, right? There was an actual energy signature being emitted, a color being emitted, right? And then slowly but surely it get manifested. So when you look at 9/11, we got manifested fire and flame, right? Fire and flame and explosion. So that's orange, hot, transformation. Red, what's orange? Yellow and red. Red is shift, movement, anger, passion. You know what I'm saying? Intention, transformation, right? So that could deal with death and birth and passion. Right? Now, when you look at yellow, yellow deals with happiness. You know what I'm saying? Optimism. You know what I'm saying? Rising above situations. You know what I'm saying? Giddiness. Wanting to be seen, wanting to be center stage, wanting to be paid attention to, right? And then when something we know when something goes very high, the higher it is, the lower, the harder to fall. So now we got an orange, but now we got how we even came to war in the first place. War is like a high, almost darkened, getting the red, but war colors in general is like that fiery flame type of red. You know what I'm saying? Like the red that y'all see right before it get to the high orange, right before it get to the high yellow. You know what I'm saying? The high, that right in between that, you know what I'm saying? That rugged part. Right when it's leaving the blue and it's transparent, then it got that little oval shape, and then that where everything got in the center, where it's migrating. Now, check this out. When the news channels was pushing out all that fear monger and all that war energy, forcing us to go to war, that was the color. That's the color spectrum of war. I just broke down the color spectrum of war to y'all: yellow and red. So it creates movement, but movement at a high altitude, because high is yellow, hell low. You know what I'm saying? Then when you get red shift, movement, aggression, passion. This is why Mars is even represented with the war energy, and this is why Mars is red. So when you get two of those together, this is shifting in a major way, shifting in a high altitude. You know what I'm saying? So the highs became low. And then when you look at all the fear monger that got happened, then you got 9/11. And the actual illusion of it was, y'all think planes crashed and shit like that and people died, which was an illusion. But what actually happened was you seen the manifestation of what was happening subconsciously. And you actually even seen the color and the elements that had something to do with that energy in general. You know what I'm saying? Fire, which is all shit is metaphysics, and it happened in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension realm first. So that's what we need to understand when we talk about thoughts. So even when we break down motherfucking thinking about the past, right? Now, when you got your mind too much on the motherfucking past, this will give a strain, because instead of light, now you putting too much water. You putting too much past, and water is like old light. Like old condensed light, old frequency vibrations condensed. That's what like water is. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, like it's like old fire. Like it's hard to explain in the 3rd dimension, but I'm pretty sure if you look at the way how fire dance and you look at the way how water dance, you'll be able to, and dive into your spiritual nature, you'll be able to kind of sense where I'm getting this information I'm talking about. Therefore, was already understood, don't need to be said with words. You'll just be able to go there and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that do make sense. Now, for the most part, when we're talking about thinking too hard about the past, now thinking too hard about the past will put you in a circumstance, a situation where now you're taking, you're like your spirit is in a somewhere else that you have already experienced in the astral realm, but your body is in the present. So you're in two different places when you start to think about the past. The future, that's something you're trying to create. You're not even technically there yet. You're still in the present, but you might be daydreaming or you might go into your imagination. So you're just trying to formulate the future, but you're just trying to formulate it from what you got to work with in the present. Otherwise, if you have some type of new experience or new idea or person, place, or thing that could kind of give you a new idea on what you need to do to add to your future ideas or future attributes, you experience that. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you're still creating that. You're still in the present creating. So the future don't really exist. And then when we talk about the past, now the past is putting your spirit in the astral realm of a place that you have already been in. And if it's a place that your spirit don't even like to be in, your spirit is going to manifest those circumstances 10 times faster. Like, for an example, you ever been in a situation where you was like, damn, man, I never fuck with that person again, or I never do that again, right? And then you go on for like months and months and things was clear. Then you start to feed into it again, right? And then when you do it the next time, you get caught way more faster, or you experience a depressing moment out of that situation way more faster than you did the first time when you told yourself like, man, I wasn't even gonna do that shit again. I ain't even gonna do that shit again. You know why? Because that's your spirit reminding you like, look, motherfucker, we already been here. So why would you come back here? Look what we just manifested. You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck is you back here? So that harsh situation comes way faster this time. And maybe even in a more harsher scenario. So if you keep playing in that routine and pattern, and say you lost in the 3D, you lost in the physical and flesh, and everything is an illusion. You just tap to people, places, and things, and based upon how long you knew them, or whatever you're doing, or whatever you're involved in, you lost in that. So you're not paying attention to the spirit realm. Say that in the 4th, 5th, and the 6th dimension, you keep spinning in the same rotation over and over again. It's going to come to you with signs. It's going to come to you with the same kind of scenarios. It's going to bring more people, places, and things in your life that's even harder than the last situation you went through. But it's carrying the same energy signature. And if you not willing to look at this spiritually and force yourself to go somewhere to yourself and be like, man, what the fuck is going on? Because that's what your spirit going to force your body to do. Eventually, it's going to force you to go somewhere and be like, man, what the fuck is going on? What's going on with me? And you're going to be all to yourself. That's your spirit telling this motherfucking conscious body, like, listen, I'm trying to talk to you. But some people be so lost that they still think they talking to outside people. So now they saying, God, why the fuck you do this to me? Fuck you, God. Fuck you. Not knowing they saying fuck you to themselves subconsciously in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. But in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, if you are following the spirit, that's what they like you to do. They like you to follow them right off the cliff. So you could go where they go way before your time. So when you get there, you know little to nothing. So you'll always be worshipped. You'll be born in a family that you get ran in authority over. You'll be born in a family that's ruled by a religion. That and then the religion, the controller of that person who created that religious idea may have died from that dimension and maybe in another dimension. So you went to a dimension just to do the same thing. You do it here. A nigga who left this dimension a long time ago. So you got your mind on the past. And then you start to think about history, and you start to go to all past texts and shit like that. And then just diving into these things intellectual wise, don't it make your mind hurt? Don't it make your mind hurt trying to figure out what the Bible's talking about all day? Don't it make your mind hurt trying to make sense out of everything in your life? Don't it make your mind hurt? Don't it? Then you might be a person who could think real fast and your mind don't hurt physically yet, but slowly but surely you're building so much light, so much water on your brain that it may not take course to the end of the week. Then the end of the week you got a goddamn migraine. And you like, goddamn, why the fuck I got a fucking migraine? All that energy you've been putting on your brain muscle. That's you like exercising your brain muscle, thinking. And I'm not telling everybody not to think, but what I'm saying is there's certain circumstances and situations that you kind of need to free your mind. That's the point of meditating, to not think, to free your mind. You know what I'm saying? The moment you're supposed to utilize your attributes like tools. One of the attributes in the light bodies outside of you that you utilize as a state of being, as a spirit coming here to create your solar plexuses and your feminine and masculine bodies. One of the ones that you used for your intellect was Mercury, or whoever they want to call that motherfucker. However so many names y'all go back, Thoth or motherfucking Hermes, whatever. At the same time, it's the same circumstance and situation. Gilgamesh, whatever. A motherfucker who came with some high ideas and intellect. They was building the intellect conscious. So they was going through experiences, and the way they was experiencing, they was gaining more wisdom and knowledge out of the experience more than other people. So the conscious body that they developed was able to be more brighter. So more brighter, more light, more shine, more awareness. More awareness means you have more perception over with y'all surroundings. So it plays out in the realm you are in as you being more wise, or having more intellect, or being you know what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying, being able to ascend, or being able to aka create a mental body. And that's all it really is. It's just a fucking mental body. Shit, mental bodies get destroyed every fucking day in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. Believe that. Don't come around no 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, no 6th dimensional being with no fucking restricted ass, heavy ass moral system. Your ass will get mutually slaughtered. And you will be living in that hell existence forever. That motherfucking moral system you live in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, you got that from a spirit that like hell concepts. Because, you know what I'm saying, beings create ideas and concepts, and that's a fiery flame in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. So a lot of spirits like living in hell, like living in imaginations. You're living in a being's imagination right now. So they like to say that's hell. I don't even like to dive into that kind of talk. But for the most part, in so many words, shapes, and forms, you have to look at it like this: as a spirit, fire creates transformation. This is why you're constantly got forms of transforming and things of that nature. You don't want to, in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, when you come into beings with a heavy restricted moral system, you come in like beings like me, or you come in with this heavy like reality, realistic, quote unquote, logical concept. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, that does not survive. You either are that thing or use a fraud. So whatever you're clinging on to, you either are that thing, or you're a fraud, or you're a follower. It's no in between. It's always three. It's always two sides to a story, and the story in general. What actually happened. So in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, you either are this thing, you either are this person, place, or thing, or you a fraud and a fake and a liar, and you're lying to yourself and creating conscious lying bodies to yourself, or you a follower. There's no in between in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. You gotta have conviction. Your mentality got to be strong. There's no in between. You can't pick a fourth system. You can't take outside the 360 well. I don't give a fuck how many constellations trying to align themselves with our ecliptic. At the end of the day, everything's still a 360. So if you want to add a fucking 13 month, that's your fucking lostness. But the stars and the constellations matters none. The space you're in, the houses you're in, the 360 wheel, the space you in is what matters. So it doesn't matter what's coming in and coming out as far as the shit that got created out of the space in the womb just like you. The shit that got created out of the space and was a spirit and created a shape and form to go into just like you. We all fucking stars. We all moving through fucking space. That matters none. But the fucking space we're moving through matters every fucking thing. And that's what we talk about horoscopic and the 360 goddamn wheel. And within this fucking 360 motherfucking pie wheel, this is what you need to motherfucking understand in this realm of reality. You see what I'm saying? Now, when we talk about the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, and when we talk about added days and added shit, this is the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional shit that we need to apply to understand that there's higher clocks going on, that there's higher wheels going on. But let us not forget the clock that you are on in the third dimension. And once you know how to understand the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional realm, shit, this third dimensional clock ain't shit. It's a lesser clock. You look at this shit and spin it the way you want to spin it. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even be able to have this kind of mentality and thought if you ain't developing fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional bodies for yourself right now. Shit, in this motherfucker. So stop thinking too hard about goddamn shit and stop having too much shit on your mind. A lot of people put shit on their mind that they think is helping them to clear their mind. You see what I'm saying? Like people watch shit or do shit and be like, yeah, man, I need this to clear my mind. Go drink a whole fifth of Alizé, right? I need this to clear my motherfucking mind. That's on your mind. You get it? You have to clear your mind. Go somewhere and be like, fuck it. I mean, fuck everything. Take a whole hour, a whole day if you can. If you ain't got no job or nothing like that. Take a whole day off. Do like Archangel Uriel. Sometimes it just say fuck every fucking thing and clear. And then when you come back to reality, you'll have a higher perception. You'll be able to look at everything from the outside looking in. Believe that. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.